This is the story of how Shakuni, a prince of Gandhara, became the destroyer of dynasties. The original Mahabharata shows his actions, but later retellings revealed what drove him. As you have previously seen, Gandhari had made her choice. Blindfolding herself forever, she married Dhritarashtra in a ceremony that united two kingdoms. To all of Hastinapura, the royal wedding appeared flawless, and it seemed a perfect union. Until one day, rumors reached Bhishma's ears. Before Gandhari married Dhritarashtra, she had been married once before, to a goat. To Bhishma, this was not just deception, it was a violation of sacred law. In his mind, Gandhari had been married once before to a goat, making her technically a widow, and a widow could not marry into the Kuru throne. But the truth was far more complex than what Bhishma knew. Months earlier, in the mountain kingdom of Gandhara, King Subala had received devastating news. Gandhari's horoscope revealed Mangal Dosha, a planetary curse. The astrologers were clear. Any man who married her would die. His priests offered a solution. Marry Gandhari first to a goat. The curse would be fulfilled through the animal sacrifice. Then, free from the dosha, she could marry Dhritarashtra safely. It was an act of love and desperation. But it was also a secret. The ritual was performed, the goat was sacrificed, and the secret was buried and forgotten. And Gandhari went to Hastinapura, saying nothing. Months after the wedding of Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, when Bhishma learned the truth, his fury was absolute. He sent a message to the king Subala that you and your sons and all male members of your house are summoned immediately to answer for this offense. Message arrived in Gandhara bearing Bhishma's seal. King Subala knew what this meant, but he had no choice. To refuse would mean war, and so 101 men are set out to Hastinapura. Shakuni, the youngest son, had always dreamed of seeing the greatest city of Hastinapura. He never imagined what was about to come. King Subala said, "Great Bhishma, I beg you to understand. The horoscope showed Mangal Dosha. Any man who married my daughter would have died. The priest said that's the only way to break the curse." But Bhishma said, "You deceived us, King Subala. You hid the truth from the Kuru throne. You sent your daughter to marry a prince knowing what she had already been wed. In Kshatriya Dharma, a bride must come to the marriage pure and her history disclosed. You violated both." And with those words, 101 men were dragged to the dungeons beneath Hastinapura. Bhishma's punishment was calculated. He did not execute them. That would be mercy. In his rigid dharma, deception required suffering, understanding, and time. Instead, one fistful of rice delivered daily, enough for one man to survive, not enough for 101. It was a death sentence disguised as imprisonment, slow, deliberate, and inevitable. King Subala understood this immediately. If they divided the rice equally, all would die within weeks. But if one man ate it all, one might survive. And the choice of that one man was Shakuni. Shakuni, the youngest, the smartest, the one with fire in his heart. He will eat the rice, he will survive, and he will remember. 3 months passed. One by one, Shakuni watched his brothers die. He heard their final breaths. He felt their hands grow cold. With his dying breath, King Subala gave his son Shakuni a final command. "Promise me, you will make them pay and destroy the Kuru dynasty." For days, Shakuni sat among the bodies of his family. Grief turned to rage. Rage turned to something colder, something patient, something deadly. Before the gods came to remove the bodies, Shakuni did something that would echo through the ages. He took a bone from his father's thigh and carved a pair of dice. And these were no ordinary dice. They were instruments of revenge carved from his father's bones, destined to destroy a dynasty. After many months, when only silence remained in the dungeon, Bhishma decided to finally open the door and release Shakuni. Some say he broke his own leg, others say he was simply too weak. Either way, Shakuni emerged from that dungeon completely changed. Bhishma believed he was upholding sacred law, and so bound by his terrible vow to serve the throne, Bhishma dispensed what he called justice. But Shakuni saw everything he would never forget. After Bhishma released, Shakuni did not rage, he did not curse. He simply bowed before the man who had killed his family. Bhishma saw Shakuni's obedience. He did not see the hatred burning behind those downcast eyes. When Gandhari learned that Shakuni alone had survived, she wept, not knowing whether to feel grateful or guilty. Her younger brother, the last of her family, eventually he came to live with her in the kingdom of Hastinapura. 20 years passed. Prisoner was gone. In his place sat a royal advisor, wealthy, trusted, beloved by his nephews. No one suspected, no one knew. The ancient texts say Shakuni was not merely a man, he was the personification of the Dwapar Yuga, the age of deception, made flesh. Born from the fury of the gods to act as the catalyst for the end of an era. But whether destiny or vengeance drove him, the result would be the same. The greatest war the world had ever seen, and it would all begin with a game of dice.